Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today we're going to talk about a concern that I've basically seen crop up from time to time, and I think the concern is a lot more important now that Warner Brothers Games Montreal is looking towards revealing a game of theirs. And so Warner Brothers Games Montreal already put their on the DC fandom schedule that August 22nd, they have an exciting new game that's going to be coming very soon. Now, this concern is if Warner Brothers Games Montreal can actually pull off a Batman game. A lot of people are most likely going to be judging this based on Batman Arkham Origins. Now, I want to say something, and it sounds very silly. This is not going to be their first rodeo, and Batman Arkham Origins was such a different game in a different light that I think the cards that they were dealt, they played it the very best way that they actually could, because that game, if you talk to critics and talk to people who actually played the game and liked Batman, they will tell you that that game has nuggets that basically beat Arkham City and Arkham Knight. Now, overall, the game is not able to do that because of its shortcomings, but nonetheless, Arkham Knight versus Arkham Origins boss fights, we all know that it's a wrap. Origins did a better job regarding that, if we want to go by just that one parameter. There are other parameters, but let's just look at some timelines to give us a little bit of a, the environment within which Batman Arkham Origins was developed. So Batman Arkham Origins started its development in 2011, and the game was out by October of 2013. So you're looking at like a 2-year window, basically, depending on when it started. Hopefully it started earlier that year. I mean, I'm scared to even think that they even started development of the game in March or April or June. Hopefully it started like January. That would have probably said, okay, maybe you gave it enough time. But this was a situation that the studio basically got. They got files from, Warner Brothers Games, Warner Brothers Rocksteady Studio, and they just hit the ground running, and they were able to ship a game October 25th, 2013. They shipped a game that had multiplayer. They shipped a game that it did have a lot of technical issues, but now if you play the game on PC, the game has a lot of polish. Some people even say the console versions have more polish than the PC versions. I don't remember the console version. I played the Xbox 360 version, and it actually was a smooth experience from start to finish. The PC version is the one that's giving me a few hiccups, but nothing that was game breaking. My game never crashed, just a little bit of a response issue, and that was it. Now let's look at Batman Arkham Knight and its development time, which began around 2011, and the game shipped in the middle of June of 2015. So basically the game enjoyed like maybe a year or even a little bit more development time than Batman Arkham Origins. And then when you look at Batman Arkham City, which was Warner Brothers Games studio Rocksteady, they were basically taking Batman Arkham Asylum and polishing and cleaning it up and making it Arkham City. That game started its development in 2009, February, and then the game shipped in October of 2011. So when you go ahead and look at it, you basically see that, these games basically had a lot of time to work with, plus the studio's own experience working with the title, and then even, Warner Brothers Montreal basically getting dealt that hand. You basically see that, the studio needed, probably a little bit more time, but they worked with what they had, came up with their own story, and today we have history. They've put together one of the most grounded and grassroots Batman game in the entire Arkham collection, and it's a game you cannot ignore. Even though it has its flaws and its shortcomings, you might want to just sit back and say, what if they had an extra year of development to polish this game and they were not, basically being held by time constraints? What if this game was already in a longer pipeline of development and they knew about it, and once Arkham City was basically shipping, they had already basically begun work in the middle of even Arkham City's development to then just continue from where they had stopped? If you factor in all of this, you're going to see that Batman Arkham Origins had all the potential, and even till now, in the way that it shipped, it's a game that if you played it, you will love and enjoy the game regardless of, whatever you may think. Yes, now if you played Arkham Knight, you may think it's a little bit, dated or clunky, because Arkham Knight was definitely of some really good polish. But with the time constraint and what Warner Brothers Games Montreal was able to deliver, I just have to say that you have to really, really give it to this studio, and you have to put a little bit more faith in them. Some people have said the development time was as little as 1 year. I don't think that's the case. Maybe it was as short as a year plus with marketing and all kinds of other stuff. You know, they did get help and all that, but they put together a decent story. They put together a decent game that is still one of the, better superhero games out there till date. If you really want to kind of throw things, out there and say, okay, let's just kind of cast the die in a farther range, why not look at other, Spider-Man games that were developed around that same time and compare their own, gameplay, their own mechanics and everything to what Batman Arkham Origins brought to the table, their own stories, their DLC, their combat maps, the Predator, everything that they followed suit to do with Rocksteady. Look at other games that were in that time development that were superhero games, and if you even try to compare them against Batman Arkham Origins, they will fall very flat. And so I wanted to make this video because it's not like I'm saying that whatever Batman game, Gotham Knights or whatever Warner Brothers Montreal is going to reveal, I'm not saying that it's going to be the greatest game ever. I'm just saying that the studio, ought to at least be given a little bit more credence based on the work that they were able to pull off in the time that they pulled it off. Now, if there's one thing I would say as a concern is the fact that other games that they had been working on had been canceled. That may have also set back, their ability to put more production time into this new game. And so that's where I think the concern ought to be, actually, because if you think about the Warner Brothers game that was rumored, that was a Damian Wayne game that got canceled, and some other projects perhaps, if those cancellations were done way early, then sure, the studio should have gotten anywhere around 3 to 4 years to work on this game. But anything less, I think that's where we probably need to be concerned. But then you also have to think about the advancement of technology since then, and perhaps we might see a game that's coming out with Unreal Engine 4. Imagine all of that grandness coming out in a better and a more improved Unreal Engine. And take note, Arkham Knight was developed in Unreal Engine 3. So if this game was being worked on Unreal Engine 4, that would have definitely been an improvement in technology as well. But there are so many more technical details that I would have to spend, a longer video discussing, and I don't want to bore you with all of that. But nonetheless, my conclusion is I'll wait and see the end product and, just give them a little bit more of my own, I would say, give them a little bit more leverage and put a little bit more faith in them, and then we'll go with it. Anyways, that's pretty much it for me. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want more Batman content, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment in the comment section, and hopefully we'll see in another video.